What's poppin'? Welcome back to Midwest World. It's the Tubecast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Greatly appreciate it from everybody. Appreciate everybody who's regulars, and I appreciate everybody who's new. You know what I mean? Straight up. And I appreciate everybody who come from time to time. Appreciate everybody, man. Straight up. Now, today's topic, man, I want to talk about wrestling because I am a wrestling fan. Now, I don't keep up with wrestling now enough to know who's who, you know what I mean? But I don't really watch the new wrestling because I don't like the script too much. Like, I don't really like how it's written, you know what I'm saying? So, really not my cup of tea, man. I'm from a different era, you know what I mean? And that's not to say anything wrong with this era. It's just, this era is a little too PC and things like that. See, back then it was not like that, you know what I mean? When it came to the WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? It was WWF for a long time, then it changed to WWE, you know what I mean? But, you know, Attitude Era was WWF, okay? So, you know, WWE, then WCW, right? So, I was a WCW guy. Nothing wrong with the Attitude Era or anything like that. It's just, it always felt a little more wacky, you want to say, or like it was like very quirky. The attitude, like WWE, just in the whole, the humor. I like the seriousness of the WCW. You know what I mean? It felt more realistic and more serious. So I kind of rocked with WCW more, man. You know what I'm saying? But I did watch the WWF, so I knew everything. I knew all the wrestlers from WWF. I will flick back and forth sometimes and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I remember the episode where was it Eric Bischoff? I forgot who told the main event. You know what I'm saying? Of what was happening on Raw. That was crazy. You know what I mean? Because Raw was pre-recorded. You know what I mean? So, man, I was a WCW guy. You know, my favorite wrestler, actually, in childhood idol of mine is Booker T. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the reason, like, let me see. The reason why I got into wrestling in the first place is because of Booker T. I'm trying to think, I'm trying to remember whose house I was at. I was at a relative's house. I'm going to just say that, you know what I mean? I was at a relative's house, and I was watching WCW Saturday Night, and I believe it was a tag team match. You know what I'm saying? With the Harlem Heat versus two white dudes. I don't know who they was. And I'm like, yo, you know, because, you know, listen, let's be honest, wrestling is predominantly white. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, ain't no black dudes here like that, you know what I mean? But then I seen Booker T and Stevie Ray. I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? So I started tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Then I started watching more and more wrestling. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, man. So I started, you know, like, my favorite wrestlers of all time is Booker T, one. Rob Van Dam, he is fire. Rob Van Dam is cold. You know what I'm saying? Bret Hart, even though Bret Hart is very negative, man. Like, I can only listen to Bret Hart for so long. Talk, you know what I mean? Because he's just so negative. And I get it because the business did a number on him. We're not even gonna play these games, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, most of his family that he wrestled with his past, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's like kind of almost like the last guy standing. So he's seen the dark side of the wrestling. So it's like, I get it. So I can't speak on that. You know what I mean? This man's brother died in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And the show continued. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, man. So, but, you know, I can't listen to Bret Hart too long, man. Like, I can't, because he always going to some rant. But Bret Hart is technically one of the best wrestlers to step in the ring, man. Diamond Dallas Page is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. You know what I'm saying? I remember watching Halloween Havoc. I believe it was Halloween Havoc, with Goldberg. I thought he was about to really beat him. I thought he was going to beat him. Didn't happen, but that was a great match, though. Even though Goldberg really, he's not a good wrestler, but I respect Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? But technically he's not a good wrestler, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you look at him, he wasn't technically sound, dog. It was just all brute force. And he was, if you listen to shoot interviews, they say he was hard to work with, really, because he didn't have any skill. The matches can only be so long because he don't have the ability. You know what I mean? That's why Steven Regal, I guess, got in trouble, or I don't remember if he got fired or he got in trouble. But either or, you know, that match looked crazy. If you look at the match with Steven Regal and Goldberg, you can see the struggles going on in the ring and how confused Goldberg looked due to what Steven Regal was doing in there. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, DDP is one of my favorite. You got Booker T, Bret Hart, RVD, DDP. Kurt Hennig is one of my favorites too. I rock with Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. You know what I'm saying? I rock with Heavy. You know what I'm saying? I just like his style of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I think he's dope. I mean, I have a lot of guys that I really like. You know what I'm saying? Shelton Benjamin he's cold, underrated. At least AEW was giving him his love, you know what I'm saying? But Shelton Benjamin, I always felt like should have got like some sort of a push in the WWE, but that didn't really happen like that. You've seen the talent, you know what I'm saying? But that didn't really happen like that, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's a lot of dope wrestlers, man. You know, I always felt like WCW has the better cruiserweights, the small man. You know, you got Dean Malenko, you know what I'm saying? Juventud Guerrero. You know, Rey Mysterio was popping in WCW before he was popping in WWE, even though he had great careers in both, you know what I'm saying? WWE did him right, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody that came from WCW did not get there right in WWE, we know that. Jericho got there right. I remember when Jericho went over to the WWE, and that was crazy. When his debut was crazy, you know what I'm saying? Booker T, it took them a minute. Now, the thing with Booker T and Triple H, what had me feeling some type of way about Triple H, because the thing is, I like Triple H. You know what I'm saying? I've always liked Triple H. You know, with him in China, you know what I'm saying? All that. I mean, no, I was not a big DX guy. I did not like DX like that, but I understand the impact D-Generation X had everybody doing the, you know, what it was, hand cross. You know what it is. You know what it is. I don't want to say the wrong thing on here, but you know what's up, right? But DX, I wasn't big on DX. You know what I'm saying? The music was fire. The music was fire. You know what I mean? I think X-Pac also had one of the best themes too. X-Pac, fire. You know what I'm saying? But just wasn't a big fan of DX, the goofiness. You know what I mean? But I liked NWO. You know what I mean? You know, but the Booker T and Triple H, man, that whole promo run was out of pocket from on the race type tip. Now, the thing is, I'm not a race baiting kind of guy here. It is what it is. But I'm like, they really pushing this here. You know what I'm saying? They really pushing this. And I'm like, why are they even going in this bag here? Very uncomfortable angle that they push here. Very uncomfortable. But if you know about Triple H and how he moves, he always buried people. Know what I'm saying? Like, he never really puts people over, if you think about it. He never wants to put people over like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just listen to interviews. This dude, man, like, it's like, man, a lot of people feel like Booker, not just me, a lot of people feel like he should have won that WrestleMania match. Now, that match was fire, though. That was a dope match. That was a nice match. I did like that match, you know what I'm saying? But they eventually, Booker T ended up winning championships, you know what I'm saying, in the WWE. I did not like the King Booker. I didn't like that, you know what I'm saying? But that's that WWE stuff, man. They always kind of make things less serious. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing with WWE. It's not my style. I like the more gritty side of WCW. Now, you know, I just do, you know what I mean? But, you know, I understand if someone said they like WWF more than WCW because they had some iconic stars over there. You get Rock, Stone Cold, you know, the Taker over there, you know, Mankind, for whatever reason, never went past a certain point. Even though he was iconic, he did not get past a certain point. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like Mankind is up there with like The Rock and Stone Cold and things like that. Even though he has some iconic moments, man. Like the Mankind, you know, Mankind, like, you know, he's one of the greats in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? The things he's done, the matches he's had, that moment when he got threw off the cage, all it takes is one wrong landing and you done. He put it all on the line out there. You know what I'm saying? He put it all on the line out there. And I think that he deserves his respect. You know what I'm saying? You know, Dude Love and Cactus Jack really didn't, you know, I knew what the name, I knew those characters, but they didn't really get, Mankind was what it was. You know what I'm saying? Mankind, you know, that was his best, you know, role. You know what I'm saying? His best character, Mankind. I'm trying to remember his name, his whole name. You know what I'm saying? I put his name in the rap lyric. I can't think of his name all the way, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Mankind. But, you know, I feel like he's a great, you had, man, listen, both companies was on point at one point. Both companies was neck and neck. You know, it was one of the things where it's like, it's just preference. Because they both had stars. You know, you had the yellow Hogan in the WWE, but then WCW, he became the black and white Hogan. And that heel turn was on the news, fam. I remember that. When he turned heel, that was the biggest stuff. That was the biggest news. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was some, man, listen, when Hogan turned heel, and then on top, and then it seemed like Hogan got bigger as black and white Hogan. Hollywood Hogan might be bigger than the yellow Hogan. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you still got people now wearing NWO shirts. You still see NWO shirts, man. You know what I mean? NWO apparel. That was big. I don't see people walking around with the American Dream Hogan. I don't see all that. I see Hollywood Hogan. I mean, not gonna lie, Hollywood Hogan was cool. He was. You know what I'm saying? NWO was fire. Now, you could say NWO started adding too many members to where it got watered down. I could agree with that. I could agree with that. They just started adding anybody. You know what I'm saying? But NWO was fire. The music, the look. Wolfpack was tight, but it wasn't like the black and white though. Yeah, the red and black wasn't hitting like the black and white. NWO black and white was iconic, man. In my opinion, I'm going with NWO black and white over D-Generation X every day of the week. But I'm quite sure there's a lot of people that rock with DX over NWO. Okay, I know that. You know what I'm saying? They got, look, DX, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, you know what I'm saying? X-Pac, man, that'd have been a nice matchup. But you know that now it comes down to script writers. That's why they never, I think that's why they never clashed. Cause I know Bret Hart mentioned something in the ring one time, you know, when they was, you know, which I don't think was real. Maybe it was, where he was saying, yeah, they trying to get all this money up to have Stone Cold and Austin face each other. He said that dead in the middle of the ring. I remember that when he was going through one of his, when he was ranting, you know what I mean? In WCW. But that matchup, I mean, they didn't even wrestle in WWE. That's one of them things where it's like, if it was WWE, man, Stone Cold, they're gonna have Stone Cold win that, bro. Like, I mean, that's just what it is, you know what I'm saying? And then Goldberg, I mean, I don't know how they will write that. You know what I mean? It's like, how would they write that up? Because technically, if you think about it, when it comes to Goldberg and Stone Cold isn't as strong as a Goldberg, dog. So, I mean, I don't know how Stone Cold wrestles better now. If you look at Stone Cold back in the day when he was stunning Steve Austin, this dude was like wrestling. Like, you know, you didn't really see a lot of the wrestlability when he was just Stone Cold Steve Austin. But when he had the hair, he was doing some stuff. I'm like, hold on, man. I didn't realize, because I didn't look at Stunning Steve Austin until after Stone Cold. I did not know that he was in the WCW back in the day. I did not know that. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even know he had hair. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hold on, this dude actually wrestling out here. You know what I mean? So Stone Cold, he actually got some wrestling in his bag. You know what I'm saying? So he's the better wrestler than you know, Goldberg. You know, but the strength is different in my opinion. Like, I think by a lot. You know, so that'd have been an interesting matchup in my opinion. I'm not. Stone Cold is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Stone Cold is a legend. You know what I'm saying? But as far as his move, like the Stunner, all-world move. All-World Hall of Fame. He had kids doing that just randomly. Look, man, I remember in school, look, man, they just walk up to you randomly. You stand at the locker, they come up to you and you the Stunner. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to watch out for it. It'd be a thing we used to have, like, we'd lock in, like, hey, you got to block yourself from the Stunner. It was like open chest almost. It's like, hey, man, you know, I can walk up to, you know, you got to be able to be alert. You know what I'm saying? So you don't get hit with the Stunner. So if you sitting there talking to a girl or something chilling, your homeboy might come up to you and be like, bang. So the Stunner, All-World Hall of Fame, probably the greatest move of all wrestling, okay? The Stunner, you know what I'm saying? But as far as in the ring, I like more so technical guys. Now, Booker T wasn't technical, he was more athletic. I like scissor kick, Harlem Hangover, all the kicks, you know what I mean? He had some smooth. Booker T was smooth in the ring, all right? He was smooth in the ring to me, you know what I'm saying? So I rock with Booker T, you know what I'm saying? Especially Harlem Heat and singles comp Booker T in WCW. I liked him in WWE. I just didn't like how they had him acting in WWE. That's the only thing, but I'm always going to roll with the book, you know what I'm saying? 100% I choose. He's at the top of my list at all times. He does not move, you know what I mean? But I liked Fade Booker T the most in WCW. You know what I'm saying? Very smooth wrestler. Smooth in WWE too. It's just the way they had him written. But eventually, they took care of him in WWE. But he had to go through his haze and stuff first. You know what I'm saying? Because the match with Buff Bagwell and Booker T, I don't think it was as bad as people said it was. And I knew it wasn't going to work when they was splitting it. You know, when you had the WCW segment and WWE segment on Raw. I knew that wasn't going to work. That looked crazy. I'm like, so they're going to eventually, you know, flush out WCW characters. And they did for the most part. They only took care of a few, man. They only took care of a few, which I thought was bogus. But you know how, man, Vince McMahon is a whole nother podcast, dog. That's a whole couple hours, you know what I mean, on him. You know? Vince McMahon, now one thing about Vince McMahon, that he got one, Vince McMahon handled his business. As far as working, the dude worked hard, handled his business. But man, his tactics, Vince McMahon's tactics is crazy, you know what I mean? And all wrestlers say it. It's not just one person. This dude, he is straight up, hey, you don't, Vince McMahon cutthroat. But one thing about him, he does what's good for business too. You gotta respect that. He does what's good for business. He don't let that get in the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if y'all not cool, what's good for business, he's gonna do that. You know what I mean? So I respect that about Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying? Say what you want about Vince McMahon. I don't know all the things he was doing behind the scenes as far as like the messed up stuff that happened, right? I don't know everything that happened there, but one thing he does know how to do is run a wrestling. Now, he was kind of, now when it comes to them old school dudes, they don't get with the times too as well. So that can hurt you, you know what I'm saying? So when you don't want to evolve with the times, that can hurt you, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. But yeah, my favorite Booker T was probably television champion Booker T. I remember when he won a championship against Goldberg. Man, I was so happy as a kid. I watched that live. You know what I mean? I was my stepdad ordered the pay-per-view for me, and then he fell asleep on the couch. I was just up watching it. And man, when he hit him with when he pinned Jeff Jarrett. No. It wasn't Goldberg, my bad, excuse me. It was Jeff Jarrett. It was Jeff. He lost to Canyon earlier that night, right? He lost to Canyon. Rest in peace to Canyon. Rest in peace to Canyon. That brother passed away. That's terrible, man. Rest in peace to Canyon. You know what I'm saying? The flatliner was a cold move. You know what I'm saying? The flatliner, that move was cold. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Canyon, man. But you know, when he lost that night to Canyon, I didn't know he was gonna be wrestling again. Vince Russo. That's when Hogan, you know, when Kevin Nash fell and Hogan, you know, did what he did. They did the finger poke of doom, whatever they call that. You know what I'm saying? Finger poke of death. I don't know. I forgot what they called it. And then Vince Russo, you know, came out to the ring and I announced that Booker T gonna be wrestling Jeff Jarrett for the championship. You know what I mean? Then he had hit him with the bookend when Jeff Jarrett tried to come off the top on him. 1, 2, 3. I was so happy, man, as a kid. I was very happy. Because I never thought he'd win a championship. I didn't think they'd let him win a championship. And he won it. You know what I'm saying? Then he won it 5 times. I was very happy, man. Like, WCW Booker T is my favorite, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I like WCW Booker T the most, you know what I'm saying? You know, because he wasn't, they didn't write him in on no silly stuff, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't on no silly stuff. He was more on a serious tip in WCW. Then they tried to make him silly. Then he had the King Booker moniker and all that WWE. I like WCW Booker T the most, but his skill set was still the same in WWE, so I like that. But Booker T is one of the greats to me, you know what I mean? 2-time Hall of Famer, Harlem Heat, Fire Tag Team. You know what I'm saying? Like, Stevie Ray, you know, he dope too. You know what I'm saying? He just, you know, I just thought that Booker T skill set, his skills was, he had a wider range of skills than Stevie Ray. I would have liked to see Stevie Ray wrestle in WWE. I forgot why he said he didn't, though. I forgot why he said he didn't. I would have loved to see the Harlem Heat at least have like a little run or something in the WWE, man, because I think that, I mean, they can, listen, you could place the Harlem Heat with any tag team and they doing what they do, straight up, you know what I'm saying? So, but, man, listen, wrestling, I can talk about wrestling all day. You know what I mean? I can talk about wrestling all day. I don't know every single thing, you know what I'm saying, in the world, but I know a lot about it. I love wrestling. I knew as a kid it was a script. I did know that, you know what I'm saying? But it's the thing, though, with that script, you get hurt in that script. You can have permanent injuries in that script. You know, Darren Drysdale, rest in peace to Dries. I think he did pass. Rest in peace to Dries. You know, D'Lo Brown paralyzed him by accident. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful in there. You know what I'm saying? I think I think Owen Hart messed up Stone Cold's neck. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Owen Hart. You know, you had the accident with Owen Hart. You know what I mean? Wrestling, yeah, it's a script. It's written, it's choreographed stuff, but it's not nothing that's not an easy business to be in. A lot of people that watch it who be on the couch, oh, that's fake. Hey man, yeah, it's choreographed. You right, it's choreographed. But receipts in there is real. Them slams is real. You know, you might be in there wrestling with a bonehead who don't know how to do moves right. You feeling all of that. You feeling all that. Okay? You know, you got to be in there with somebody who know how to punch correctly to make it look real but be fake, right? You got to be in there with somebody who know how to actually, them guys who do them big boots. Dog, I done seen somebody hit, was it my man's, is it Shad Moss? I think he passed away too, but saving his son in the ocean. You know what I mean? I think it was Shad. I think his name was Shad. I seen him kick somebody so hard, dog. I seen him. I'm like, dang, that looked real, dog. That was a hard. I don't know who it was he hit. He had the jeans on. Man, he popped him hard with that big boot, dog. So you heard story. If you listen to shoot interviews, you hear stories about some guys they hate wrestling. Viscera, Mabel. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to him. He even said he had got in trouble or he got suspended or something. I forgot what he said, man, that he was hurting people, but he wasn't doing it on purpose. That's a big dude, man. I wouldn't even want to wrestle him. Like, I'm straight. I wouldn't want to wrestle no Viscera, dog. The stuff he was doing some impressive stuff to be that big, but Man, the whole ring, like, dog, man, listen, fam, no, I'm not doing it. I'd have dodged that too. I'm not lying. My man's was huge. And then nah. Because nothing about that looked like it felt it was safe. Nothing about that looked safe dealing with Viscera. That was a big dude, man. That whole ring sink when he jumps. I'm like, yo, nah. There's no way you can safely land on somebody. Like, no. So, yeah, and then, they said the Ultimate Warrior was terrible to wrestle with. Rest in peace to him. Lex Luger was terrible to wrestle with. And if you look at it, you can kind of see it. You know what I mean? Because usually them dudes with no technique, man, they just don't know how to do things with grace. You got to kind of be able to do things with grace, but make it look realistic. Listen, it's a skill. It's a skill. That's why they have wrestling school. It's a skill. You can't just go in there like, oh, it's fake. No. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be safe. You got to make it look a certain way. You got to, all that. So I love wrestling. I respect it heavily. You know what I'm saying? I love wrestling, man. I just don't like how it's written today because they're trying to be more so on some PG-13 stuff. Even though the WWE is trying to move away from that, you know what I'm saying? But, that's going to take a minute to move away from that. But, I just like the more serious tone of WCW. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with WWE. I just like the more serious tone of WCW. But they both had some great stars. You can kind of say, Stone Cold and The Rock, two mega stars. Okay, 2 mega stars. All right. They had their stars, man. It's just the wacky humor. I didn't like that too much. You know what I'm saying? But they both was great companies in their time. I feel like, yeah, the WWE is still doing this thing, but it's not the same as what it used to be. Like the Attitude Era was probably their best era, honestly. Their best era. The Monday Night Wars was probably like the best time in wrestling, honestly. They screwed up the invasion. That invasion could have been amazing, but egos got in the way. When DDP came, they botched him. When DDP came, that was a big pop. When Raven came, when he DDT Jerry Lawler, because Jerry Lawler was wrestling Taz, that was a big pop. Vince didn't like that. He's like, oh no, y'all getting more pop than my guys? Oh no, we're gonna bury you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, egos got in the way of that. Egos got in the way of that. You know what I'm saying? Vince McMahon and his ego got in the way of that. That's what happened when it came to that invasion, that flop. You know what I mean? But either way it goes, I was a fan of WCW more so, but I rocked with both. If you ask me who I roll with, it was WCW. WCW easy. I love WCW. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. Pulling in the work, so I got to slide. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Greatly appreciate from everybody. Peace.